Did he just sing Just Go Wolf?
Probably.
I've heard the song for the first time, but it certainly sounded like he said it, and I'm like, what? Okay, guys, to the top left, we have our Slayers player. Starting in the red, it's the Protoss called
Slayer's Puzzle.
Here he is in his Windbreaker, and actually the reason why the match between Hack and Ace is being played as the third match is that Hack just arrived. I don't think he knew that he has to play this early. To the bottom right, we have his opponent. We have the Startail player, and it is, of course, Celebration King.
Startail Ace.
Looks so focused in the booth every time.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes he's about fun and games, but when he's playing, he's no nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a map that we've seen in the WCS, of course, quite often. A map where we have seen a lot of Stargate openings, actually.
Yeah, Stargate opening is quite popular here. Despite the fact that you have a lot of surface area in the main, most players do not prefer Blink Stalker openings because it's hard to attack by ground at the natural, and so you feel a little bit uncomfortable if your opponent just sits in the main. And something else to note is that a lot of players on this map like to go for early robotics expands because they feel it's pretty easy to hold Blink Stalkers out on this map. But that can be risky against Phoenixes, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why Phoenix openings got more popular recently on this map is because so many people were doing those robotics openings, which is very difficult to hold against Phoenixes, so it's kind of a mind game that may get played here, and I'm excited to see what the choices of builds are going to be. Right now, both players just gassing quite normally, no anomalies here.
And Puzzler was a little bit unsuccessful against Protoss in the WCS career. The two matches that he lost were against Creator and against Hero. Against Creator in the winner bracket, and of course the Prime player then advanced to win the entire tournament.
Yep.
But against Hero, and this is by the way not Liquid Hero, but CJ Enter's Hero, he also wasn't able to win a single map. So
and that was a weird best of three. You know, he went for a Nexus first on that one.
He just looked a little bit unrefined with his builds and took some risks that definitely did not pay off against Ace. It's a bit of a different story, as you already mentioned. We haven't seen Ace in a while, so I'm actually really curious what he's going to do here. Puzzle right now, or Ace actually, with a pretty nice building placement here. Even if there was some kind of fancy double proxy gate or whatever, he has a nice wall to fend some of the units off.
Yeah, and he's also got his pylon at the top right of his base, which is something I do not believe that Puzzle was able to scout. No, he did see it. He did check for that. That's probably where he's going to place his tech structure, which he will choose in just a moment. As his Cybernetics core is, of course, done. He wants to spend that first gas on getting the Stalkers out. When you take a second gateway like Ace is doing right now, you do want to get the Stalkers out to control the map and put a little bit of pressure on your opponent, scare him just a little bit.
And we have both of them with a double gas here. So the simulators are ready, and let's see what exactly the transition for Ace is going to be. Puzzle, on the other hand, he starts now with his first sentry, and usually when you go for sentry number 1 and 2, it indicates that you really want to go for an expansion play. Want to play it a little bit safer. And Ace does the same thing. He's also going for a sentry here, so doesn't start his tech before he has at least one unit to place a force field on the ramp.
Ace is checking all around the map for pylons right now with his probe as well, which I really do like, because that really could be one way of telling whether or not your opponent's going to go DTs, for example. And Puzzle, with a little bit of aggression here, is actually walking up the ramp. Back at home, he's only got one gateway, though, so this is just going to scare Ace a little bit, but he will be fine as the second Stalker pops out. He rallies into his opponent's Stalker. Now all he has to do is micro his Sentry, and really well defended so far. Got to be careful not to lose that Sentry to a Zealot, though. That was really close.
Ace could actually have tried to just trap the Stalker inside and place a force field. He might actually... I think he will lose the Sentry.
I think he will lose the Sentry as well. If it turns again, he will lose it. Oh,
no!
So careful there. That was really close.
For a second, it really looked like the Sire Blades would hit again and take the Sentry down. But yeah, Ace could have used the force field to block the ramp and make sure that the Stalker doesn't get away.
Yeah, that was a bit strange that he didn't do that. He also could have then used it to protect the Sentry a little bit better. But as a result, now Puzzle knows that he's taking a Nexus. He did not see the robotics that Ace is now making, but he can assume that this is going to be the tech.
Both of them going for roughly the same build. We have expansion into robotics facility. The third gate now coming up for Ace. I actually believe it's the third, isn't it? Yeah, it's gate number 3.
Yeah. And this is going to be one of these PvPs where the game will be decided by late game, unless one of them does something strange right now, like add a bunch of gateways and try to hit with one Colossus attack or 2 Colossus in range. But for the most part, since the expansion timings are so similar, neither player is really ahead of the other one, so it's just going to be impossible for one to attack the other.
Ace is okay. Now he started his probe production again. For a second, I really thought that he wants to play on 40 probes for now because he had the supply, he had the minerals, but he didn't do anything with it. And now he's starting his probe production once again. We have Puzzle with a faster observer here. Ace completely skipped the observer, so you won't have any idea of what exactly Puzzle is doing in his main base. We'll probably add an observer later. But the Slayer's player already with his first cloaked unit moving across the map. And Ace Observer has now been started, and it will just be ready in time to intercept Puzzle's unit.
You know, this is PvP is a matchup that a lot of people really dislike when it goes this way because the way that both players play almost identically. I think just thinking about that and Heart of the Swarm things are going to be so different. I feel, and I'm really excited for that. As you know, I like this type of game as well because it's almost like, well, since you're both doing the same thing, it's like who can do it just a little bit better and a little bit more appropriately, who can hit all their chrono boosts correctly on their forges for those upgrades. We've seen upgrades turn the tide of battle several times in this type of PvP situation. Who has the better split with their Colossi?
By the way, have a close look at what exactly Puzzle does here. He does not build any probes whatsoever. He's already far behind in the probe count. He's still looking at 30 probes, and Ace already has 40, and he's still building harvesters. Puzzle is completely focusing on his army here.
Yeah, that's true, actually, and he's getting a Warp Prism as well.
Yeah. And there's no tech for him. Ace is now going for the Robotic Spay, but Puzzle is gearing up to fight.
It looks like it, man, but this is a weird way to go about this. He's got a forward pylon going up now as well. He certainly wants to put some sort of aggression on, but Puzzle has a similar unit composition, and he is also... Ace is also going for a Warp Prism. This is going to get weird.
I mean, Ace can go, for example, for Warp Prism speed, can use the double Immortals in order to just drop and do some damage. This is one of the options that he currently has. But Puzzle is definitely trying to end this game with the timing. There's Warp Prism speed for Ace, so he really wants to put on some pressure. But he does not really account for Puzzle's early attack. This is something that he is completely not expecting.
And this is going to get awkward if his Warp Prism is spotted. He's going to see this army now. He sees it. And he may actually want to try to use this Warp Prism to flank and fight a little bit. As he's desperately trying to get his Colossus out now. These Force Shields are going to be everything, and that's what the Warp Prism is for Puzzle.
He needs the Immortals. He can't move out with them.
You're so right. And here come the Immortals into the main base to try to draw the fire of Ace. Ace needs to use his sentries at the natural and bring the rest of his army to his main. He's freaking out a little bit here. It's as if he doesn't know what to do, how to respond.
Oh, but what Ace has done is he killed the pylon, so right now Puzzle has no chance of warping in units except for the Warp Prism.
And the Colossus comes out to die.
Yes, exactly. Immediately being targeted down by those two Immortals. It dies, and Ace is now in trouble. Puzzle with a superior army is walking up the ramp. The warp in the main base. It certainly looks like Ace is out of luck, and there it is.
GG. Well, that was weird, actually. The Immortals being out of position were a big problem for Ace, but I also feel the solution was much simpler. If you leave only your sentries at the ramp and force field, those units without Colossi will never get up the ramp, and then you send the rest of your units to deal with the Immortals. He left all of his units at the natural, didn't deal with the Immortals, lost his Colossi. Then the Zealots he warped in with the Warp Prism, killed all his probes, and it was like, well, I guess I lose. I think he did not react very calmly in that situation.
Yeah, it was pretty forward here by Puzzle. He cut the probe production, went for this attack, had the warp into the main base then, and well, Ace just not ready, and he sent out these two Immortals, and it didn't really help him at all. Yes, he took down the pylon, but as the Warp Prism of Slayer's Puzzle was still in the base and enabled him to get additional units into the main base in the fight, it was not a problem.
Yep. Well, that was a quick game that we saw there.
Yeah.
And now this puts, of course, Puzzle 1-0, Ace 0 and 1.
And the next game is going to be a hack against Ace, so we will have our match between the teammates. I'm actually not quite sure if we are heading into the game right away or if we will have a short break to give Ace the chance to just calm down.
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel...
Usually we have a break every 3 games. Yeah. But I'm not quite sure what they are going to do this time. It was just a little bit weird with Thorzin pulling out and them adjusting the schedule and everything. So now Ace has to play 2 games back to back. So we'll find out what exactly is going to happen here.
We're just going to start. I asked them.
All right. So he seems to be ready. The map is going to be Whirlwind, by the way.
Yep, it's going to be Whirlwind, and this is going to be a Terran versus Protoss. So be Hack's first opening appearance, obviously playing against his teammate here on a big map. And this could mean that we could see kind of weird play. Despite the fact it's a big map, you would expect a long macro game with Ace here, especially with how good he is in the late game with Warp Prism drops, Zealot harassment, and things like that. But because this is kind of a weird teammate situation, we may see an early aggression from one or both players.
Hack is a pretty good player against Protoss. We've seen this in the past over and over again, so Ace is probably not too comfortable with this. But of course, well, I guess that they both practiced hard for these matches, and they know, of course, their style. So mind games will be a huge factor in these games. And we're just waiting for Hack, actually. Ace is already in the lobby, the player who just lost his first game. And currently we have Puzzle and Sniper being the two players who are able to edge out a win on 0 wins and 1 loss are currently Gumiho and Ace. And with Hack now, we will have the... Well, it could actually be that Ace is already down 2 games after this match, and that would be a really dire situation to look at.
Tough deficit to come back from. We saw anyone who fell into that situation yesterday was not able to make it out of the group. Same pool of players, 5-player group.
Yeah. If you are in a situation where you lost 2 maps, you have to hope for a tiebreaker. Yeah. That's kind of what you need to do. With 3 wins in the group, you're usually pretty safe until it's some kind of really, really weird composition where you suddenly have a 3-way tie. But right now, if you lose 2 maps straight, then this is pretty bad. Then you really have to hope that one player dominates the entire group and that you end up in a tiebreaker for the 2nd place.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. It's if you lose this game, the fate is not in your hands, Ace. I mean, that's just basically how it is.
While we're waiting for Hack, one thing, guys, if you haven't read about it, we tweeted about it earlier, GOMTV tweeted about it, there's also an announcement in the forum. Because of the typhoon, a lot of the flights to Korea have been cancelled. So a lot of players who are supposed to participate in the up and downs are not able to make it there in time to play tomorrow. Therefore, there has been a schedule change. So tomorrow, there won't be a single up and down group played. The group will be played on Friday. So on Friday, we actually have 2 groups that are being played. Both of them are, of course, on the free stream. You don't have to be a premium user to watch it, only if you want to watch in HD.
But yeah. Take advantage of this if you're someone who has to sleep early or something like this and you want to watch live, because there is going to be a free stream, and it is going to be basically, if I'm not mistaken, 5 hours earlier than normal is going to be that. It's either 4 or 5 hours. I don't know. I don't think it's been announced exactly when it's going to start yet, but...
I think we started 1.
Yeah, so 5 hours early, I believe.
It's on GOMTV.net. If you go to www.gomtv.net and go to the forum, then you can just find the schedule. I think it's the first post. It was posted today, and then you can find out when exactly it starts, but I'm pretty sure it's like at 1 p.m. Korean Standard Time.
Yeah, I think so. So go and check that out. Make sure that if you want to watch with your friends or something like this, the group is going to be available there. It's going to be early, so you don't have to stay up all night like I used to do when I lived in the States.
It's a Friday, so you can definitely just hang out with your friends and watch both groups. Just tweet about it and tell people about it, because it's pretty important. A lot of people will expect the up and down group to be played tomorrow, but because of the typhoon, it's not possible. But the game is about to start as Hack has now entered the lobby where the Terran versus Protoss, the 2 StarTale players facing each other. Here they are. To the left, we have the Terran player. This Hack. To the right side is Ace. Both of them taking their pictures, their profile pictures for the games yesterday.
Yeah. The map is going to be World 1. A huge map here. The GSL Season 4 still in the map pool. Hack looking a little bit jittery. Hope he can get himself together. He just arrived a few moments ago. And the game is going to start. The up and down matches for the Hot 6 GSL Codas Season 4 with Outer Rumble.
Everybody get down! Everybody get down! Let's go on! Let's go on!